Hey, Adam Lincoln Auger here from YourJumpTraining.com, going over some of the top 10 dunks of the NBA from the 2011-2012 season. Pretty much, I haven't even watched this video yet, so I'm ideally gonna watch the dunks and teach you, or hopefully explain some of the technique involved in performing these dunks from a jumping standpoint. So we start off with Rudy Gay, and the first thing I notice here is if you notice how he relines his steps to catch the ball because the ball's behind him, and what he is doing right here is he is setting up for what is called a penultimate step, which is his right left takeoff quickening. Now, what you're going to notice here is his hips are going to stay tall. He's not going to lean down real low to try to, to gain momentum, so to speak. What he's going to do is he's going to stay tall on his hips and really work on snapping this left step in as fast as possible, which, I mean, you can't get much faster than that. Look how, of course, there's some knee bend here, but there's not a lot. He keeps pretty tall on that left leg, and he's got a very tall core and shoulders. Notice how he's not leaning forward or leaning backwards. He is straight up, and he goes straight up and, hammers it down pretty good. Pretty good knee drive there, not bad at all. So yeah, just an overall a nice dunk. So, all right, next we have John Wall. All right, wow. Okay, what you're gonna notice here is notice John Wall's takeoff and how explosive his amortization phase is, which is that phase right there when he what phase I'm referring to is that split second of direction change where you're taking your horizontal motion vertical. So let's watch it in real time one more time. See how quick that is? And now let's watch it in slow motion. I want to pause to here and show you that point of contraction right there. Notice he's already on his way up. He was, very little hip drop in his 2-foot takeoff. Notice how he keeps his core tight and his chest is straight. It's not pointing like extremely low towards the ground. Like if his core wasn't strong enough for the momentum he would have brought, his core and his head would have been pointing at the ground, and he would have jumped forward. But because he's such a strong athlete and had such an explosive takeoff and quick amortization phase, he is now taking everything vertically and practically jumping straight up and straight down if he wasn't dunking all over somebody. Okay. Paul George. All right. Reverse dunk here. What you're going to see here is it's not the most technical jump in the world, but it's very technical takeoff for his. And what I mean by that it's a very technical takeoff for the dunk itself. Right there. Notice his takeoff is a right and then a kind of a pause to let that left get way in front. All he is doing right there is positioning his takeoff for the rotation in the air. Okay, now he is in a much easier, much easier takeoff position for a easier rotation for the reverse dunk. Now, I do this a lot on 360s, kind of position my feet a little ahead of my normal takeoff because it allows for an easier spin in the air, and that's pretty much what Paul George does here with that takeoff right there, almost going completely perpendicular to the rim. Alright, Fareed, Manimal, I remember this. Alright, he has a really good 1-foot takeoff here, and he really impressed me in the All-Star dunk contest, by the way, with the between the legs off the glass. Alright, his takeoff right here is extremely powerful and extremely technical. I'll have to explain on it. Notice how he shortens his third to last step to prepare for his right-left takeoff. So what we're going to see is a right-left and then a hammer down. So it's hard to see from that angle. But the next thing, I want to just kind of rewind that, and we'll wrap this video up pretty quick because I don't want it to be some long video for you. Alright, here's a good pause. Notice how he has to reach back, so it kind of messes up the technique of the jump a little bit, but his chest is straight ahead. He has a parallel to the floor knee drive, meaning his hip to knee is parallel to the floor. That's the type of knee drive we expect on a 1-foot jump. His his right foot is in a plantar flex position. Ideally, would like that dorsiflex, meaning I'd prefer if the bottom of his shoe here was actually parallel to the ground and not pointing at it in a plantar flex position. It's not the worst thing in the world because it is his off foot and not his takeoff foot. But of course, his takeoff foot here is in that plantar flex position only because he is actually in the process of taking off. I assume he will move to a dorsiflex position, yeah, in the air, and then come down accordingly. So that's a pretty good jump all together and a very good dunk. I'm not surprised that he, jumps like he does with that type of technique. Okay, that's just disgusting. Yeah, I mean, I don't even know what to say about that. It's just, sick, nasty, awesome, badass. And, you know, Blake can just get up off it too. And he's just so strong that it's just, that mix of strength and explosiveness is just unparalleled. And, I mean, from a technical standpoint, there's not much else you can say about it than, wow. All right, let's skip ahead and see if we can't find one of the top. Let's do a LeBron one here. All right, that's where he jumps over the dude. All right, let's see if we can't actually see it happening. Oh, come on. I don't need to see my Lakers getting dunked on anymore. All right. Now, LeBron is one of the, or at least this dunk here is one of the least technical jumps I've seen from him. The reason I say this, he has some pretty bad knee bend here. It's hard to see because it's such a distant video. But he's also, you're noticing he's bending at the hips to the point where that right foot is going to actually drag the ground. You never want, if you ever hear a squeak when you jump on your takeoff off of one foot, or if you notice if you're a left foot jumper, the front of your right shoe is kind of scuffed up from where you're dragging your toe, that means your hips are dropping, and we do not want that. That's not a good thing. So, but the thing with LeBron is he is an absolute freak athlete, and, he could have the worst technique in the world, and he'd still be able to jump over people and dunk it. So, he's not hurting, but for us less genetically privileged people like myself, I'm going to take as much technique as vice as possible so I can get, those extra inches. So let's see here. Westbrook, that was nasty. A 2-foot dunk, really good approach, really good takeoff, skies for it. I'm trying to see if we can't get a good look at the dunk itself. I'm not sure if it's going to happen. Doesn't appear so. Alright, there's Blake again. We've seen that a million times. Alright, and then there's my man Gerald Green. That's disgusting. See if we can't get any advice from that at all. I guess the advice here is notice his approach. Notice how he knows his max controlled speed at the rim, and he is not speeding up right now. He is staying consistent with the speed because he knows that's the speed that he feels most comfortable jumping off of. His takeoff, all right, look how quick his amortization is. And watch, as soon as I play this one more time, he's already in the air. So it's that quick of a transition. And plus, he doesn't quite have to, he doesn't quite have to control his jump kind of like John Wall did because he's taking off so deep. He needs some of that forward momentum. So he, for lack of a better term, lets some of that forward momentum take control a little bit, which allows him to jump forward. I mean, don't get me wrong, he's still jumping up, but it allows him to jump forward as well. And here's the moral of the story. His core stays straight the entire jump through. Let's watch it one more time. Watch his core here, how it stays controlled and straight, not leaning crazy forward until he finishes the dunk. That's a good takeoff. So hopefully you get some benefit out of this video. It wasn't the best dunks in the world that they were sick dunks, don't get me wrong, but wasn't the best from a visual standpoint, from a teaching standpoint. I would have preferred to have some other videos, but it's not the end of the world. Hopefully you enjoyed this video, and we will talk to you soon.